Thank you, everybody who put this event together and for bringing me in to share with you a collaborative storytelling practice that has been a really defining part of my pandemic experience as I hosted this word-based arts activity on Friday nights throughout 2020. What we're about to do is a very abbreviated version of Word Up, which is an Old Globe arts engagement program. And this artistic practice is actually something that I created in the before times on stages in Hillcrest. But like all of you, this year I had the opportunity to adapt for a digital age. And I've been hosting this activity with community members ever since. So if you're familiar with the kids' word game of Mad Libs, that's what I base this practice off of. I have the outline of a story all ready to go, and I just need to ask you a couple of questions to help me fill it all out. So you're very good at the chat. We've got just like a what do you call it? Like a downpour, a torrential downpour in the chat. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and I just need you to share your thoughts. And we're going to move pretty quickly. So try not to overthink it too much. Just share the first thing that pops into your mind. And I'm also very grateful because I have a special helper. Ileana Ovalle is here to share a conversation with me while we put this story together. And Ileana is so kind because whenever I ask people for help, they very rarely know exactly what they're going to do. So thank you so much, Ileana, for being brave and generous by joining me. You are not only a trustee at the Museum of Us, but you were an all-star pitcher and shortstop playing softball at Morley Field for your entire childhood. So if anybody could tell us some stories to help us write this piece, it's you. Are you all ready over there?
I am, and thank you so much for having me, Laura. I've learned so much about the work that you're doing at Old Globe, so I'm very, very impressed, and thanks for trusting me. We'll see how this goes.
We will. I don't know how it's going to go either. We're going to write it together. All right, everybody. So the first question, get ready in the chat. First question is very hard. How are you? That's it. How are you feeling? It's a gloomy Wednesday evening in San Diego. I'd love for us all to take a moment to check in with ourselves. How are you feeling? And how are you feeling, Ileana?
Okay, so that's a hard question today, but honestly, this is time well spent in place of taking my walk in the park, usually on Wednesday afternoons. And also we'll just acknowledge, the time that we're in today after having a serious moment yesterday, and just acknowledging that leaving space for everybody to recognize that we are still going through lots of important things in this world. So I'd just like to acknowledge that because that really is how I'm feeling. So
yeah, thank you so much. There, and I'm seeing that reflected in what people are saying. We've got positive, we've got tired, we've got enthusiastic, we've got needing rest. There's a lot of reasons to feel a lot of different ways. So thank you everyone for taking that moment to reflect on where you're at in this moment. For the next question, you just did a poll of how many years you've been involved with the park. So we're going to go way back before this moment. I'm now going to ask you, what is your very first memory of Balboa Park ever?
wow.
Or if that is just too much, an early memory that you can recall vividly. And it's okay to summarize. I know you might be able to write a book about this first experience, but Ileana, how about you? What's an early memory of the park?
It's literally an impossible question. So I'm just going to just give you a few really quick ones here. Splashing my feet in the fountain at the age of maybe 4 with Afro puffs on the side of my head. Staying the night at the Nat with my little brother during spooky Halloween. Seeing my face reflected in the Maya exhibit at the Museum of Us, then Man. Marmosets at the zoo. I love them. They were my favorite. I don't think they're there any longer. The last one is just standing in the Plaza de Panama and looking up at the Museum of Art and seeing Cat in the Hat peering over in the early 80s when they did the huge Dr. Seuss exhibit.
Those are some great memories. I love all of those. And I'm seeing some other memories at the fountain, some other memories of the zoo, working the waffle cone stand at the zoo specifically. I love that. Hi, Kimberly. Norwegian Independence Day, getting the brass ring. So many great things.
And bringing my kids to the fleet. That is a longstanding memory, the fleet, and just yelling across, hearing yourselves in the discs.
Yeah. These are amazing. It's so beautiful to reflect on family picnics and art lessons and a zoo skyfari at 6 years old. Thank you, everybody, so much for sharing these really beautiful memories. And so for our last question, I know that a lot has changed in the last year in a whole lot of ways. So I would like to ask you to take a moment to reflect on the following. What is one fundamental shift that you have seen in your community over the last year that you genuinely hope will be a permanent change? And when I say your community, that could be the community of your organization, that could be another community that you're part of. But what's one thing that you personally are hoping is going to stick? How about you, Ileana?
I'm looking at these comments just because the willingness to help, says Connie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. More dedication to making the park better because people were spending more time outside. I love these. For me,
Yeah.
it's allyship, just being there and helping one another. I look back and I'm not sure that I remember so much giving and so much willingness to help your neighbor
Mm.
in so many ways because of the pandemic, because of BLM, because of people losing their jobs. And it's been really amazing. So I'd love to see that continue, that our community really steps up and really sticks to allyship. A slower pace and be more thoughtful, says Lori Walton. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Lots of partnerships. I know that there's a lot of new collaborations that may have happened for the first time this year. I know that it was so exciting at the Old Globe to be able to work with artists and community members in Tijuana in this digital world that has no border. And that was such a beautiful opportunity. That would be my response for this, is I hope that, we don't have to skip a beat. We can keep finding ways to do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. These are open communication, friendliness, more coming together to solve problems. Wow, y'all are not holding back, and I love it.
Friendliness, yes, I always love that.
Agility, resilience.
Let me see. I'm trying to just scroll up a little bit here. Yeah, and then increased interest in justice, inclusion, equity, diversity, freedom to be with others without fear. I guess is now coming to the forefront. So that's great, and stepping up to help others.
Yeah, more money spent on parks, right? Investing in parks and recreation, all of these wonderful things. So thank you. You all have done a wonderful job. You've worked very, very hard as co-writers of this original story that we're putting together. So if you know how to do those little Zoom reactions, go ahead and give yourself a little, the little applause reaction if you can. Or you could just go ahead and give yourself a in real life pat on the back. We don't get to do that too often these days. So thank you very much for sharing. And thank you so much, Ileana, for coming on board and just sharing the screen with me. That was wonderful.
Thank you. I love Mad Libs, and this was harder than Mad Libs, I feel, but thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope it wasn't too painful.
Great job.
But now I'd like to share with you all what we just wrote. I have taken the liberty to write for you today a new and very official definition of the Balboa Park Cultural Partnership. This is the definition of this group today. We've taken this opportunity to redefine ourselves with all of ourselves and our memories that we bring with us into every room. So now presenting Balboa Park Cultural Partnership as defined by this constellation of people in time in this Zoom room right now. Since Ileana, Paul Meyer, Tyler Hughes, Lori Walton, and their colleagues first enjoyed splashing in the fountain at Balboa Park, they have been an integral part of this special, diverse, green, magic, underappreciated, indispensable sprawl of land known as Balboa Park. From that first day, they defined and shaped the park simply with who they are and being present in a shared space of San Diegans. Since those early days of Shakespeare at the Old Globe, riding the merry-go-round, climbing the bay fig tree, or taking their first child to the park, they've invested a more organized role to invest in Balboa Park. They've made it possible to connect organizations, connect San Diegans, investing in the cultural heritage and cultural life of our city. And the practice of meaningful work grows, even in a pandemic. They've had virtual events that they want to keep coming. They've supported Black Lives Matter. They've gone on one of their first dates with their husband. They've gotten to take time and space for themselves. They've not overcommitted. They've focused on family, resilience, compassion, and tolerance. It is for these reasons that the group's official definition is as follows: a group of Zoomified, tired, relieved, positive, happy Balboa Park loving people who are committed to all of the changes that they have embarked on the past year, so that many more San Diegans will have the opportunity to go to Girl Scout camp, to get hot chocolate at December nights, or to watch the performers stop when the planes fly overhead. Thank you all so much for participating and for being co-writers. That was so much fun. And I'll toss it back to you, Micah. Thank you again, everybody.